Hello everybody, and welcome once again to my channel, and thank you for tuning in. I've got another relaxing video for you today, and also I'd like to welcome Melissa again, who's modelling for me today. And we did a catch-up consultation earlier, and we discovered that Melissa in particular at the moment is suffering with back and shoulder and neck pain. I mean, people change in terms of what they are suffering from day to day. We get little niggles and little aches and pains, and the best way of identifying what somebody is suffering from on any particular day is obviously to discuss that and talk about what is particularly niggling at the moment. So what I'd like to do is just focus in on that area. And after a little bit of discussion, one of the things that came up in the consultation was to try something a little bit different, because we've done quite a few Indian heads in that area, we've done a back massage, we've done some aromatherapy. So one of the other areas that I looked at in quite a bit of detail in my studies was something called acupressure, and it can be used to really help in particular with these little niggling aches and pains that people can suffer from. And I asked Melissa if she wouldn't mind modelling what I had learned previously about acupressure points, and in particular on the neck and shoulders, which is quite a common one. Now, Melissa, you were talking to me about particular areas of your back and shoulder that was giving you particular aches and pains. Is there anything, can you use one of your hands to point at any areas that are particularly achy or niggly at the moment?
Especially this bit right here.
Right.
It's where I always get that sharp pain.
Yeah, okay. So that's useful to know. So this area here, that's quite interesting actually, because there is an acupressure point just along this area here, which we will look at in a moment, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And what about you were saying about the neck area as well?
Yeah, so the
this
neck,
area?
it's kind of just everywhere.
Oh, right, okay.
It's quite hard for me to actually locate the source.
Okay. So do you know much about acupressure at all?
I really don't.
Right, okay. It's fascinating. I did find it fascinating at the time. I am very slowly beginning to look into this in a little bit more depth, because it was one of my optional subjects. I did find it totally fascinating. So acupressure is a traditional Chinese medicine technique. So you may have heard it mentioned. It's based on the principle of qi, which you might have heard of or might be familiar with. And that's all about energy flow in the body. And it's based on 14 meridians. I don't know if you've heard of meridians before, but the belief is that the body is made up from these 14 energy pathways, which are called meridians. And each of these meridians has been given a name. We know them by the Western names. The first one, for example, is the lung meridian. Each of them have their Chinese names as well, which some people may know about. I don't pretend to be able to pronounce them, so I'm not going to attempt. But the other ones are things like the large intestine, stomach, the spleen, etc. And there's 14 of them altogether. And you can apply pressure on specific points along these pathways, and these points are called acupoints, which is your sort of where you get the acupressure, and along the meridians, if you push on these pressure areas, and there are a number on each of the meridians, and if you push on these acupoints along these meridians, it strengthens the flow of energy and really unblocks the build-up of whatever's stopping the energy flowing, and releases that. And that in turn can help relieve the pain that you're feeling and promote a sense of well-being. I mean, a lot of what we do in holistic therapies is all about promoting that sense of well-being overall. And this is just another way of actually doing that. The acupressure technique has been around for thousands of years, and thousands of people use it and really believe that it works for them. Obviously, it's not a substitute for medical treatment, but it can be very complementary to medical treatment. And for many people, the acupressure points that you push on to release aches and pains, release blockages, people really do believe that it relieves the pain and the ache that is in that particular part of the body. So what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is I'd just like to identify what I think are the main acupressure points which could potentially help you with both your shoulder pain and your neck pain. Are you okay if I draw on you?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually easier to locate them if you have a drawing on the body. So let's have fun with it, see if it works. Right, so if you don't mind, what I'd like to do, because obviously I haven't worked these pressure points for quite some time, is just really use you to help me identify where they are again. So I'm going to use my wooden stick here first, and then just on this side, just remind myself of the first one. I've got a list of the meridians, so we're going to try first looking for GB21. So GB21, so the GB stands for gallbladder, which is the gallbladder meridian, and 21 is generally between the top of the shoulder and the base of the neck, so about halfway. So that's just about there, and obviously the same on your other side. So what I'd like to do now is just where I've popped that, that's fitting nicely in there. Are you getting any response there?
It feels nice.
Okay.
I've never really used much acupressure, so I don't necessarily know which one vibes with me yet or not.
Okay, let's colour that in there. Okay, I am making this extra large for the camera just so that we can all see, but obviously if you want to do this yourself you won't need to make that, just a minor dot will do. And then we'll do this on the other side as well, so GB21, so that's roughly from the shoulder in the middle. There we go, lovely purple. I think that's roughly correct. Right, and that is one of the main pressure points for the shoulder. So once I've put all the dots on the main areas, then I'll go back and I will actually push in and do the pressure areas on there. I just want to get all the locations in place to start with. So the next one is what we call GB20. So this is on the gallbladder meridian line again, and you're looking for a slight hollow here at the base along from the ears, and you've got a dip. Actually, if you can raise your head back slightly, that's it, then you can feel the dip better. Okay, I know roughly where that is now. So I'm going to choose a different colour, and I'm going to go in and work out roughly where that is. There we go. Like a little dip. Do the same on the other side. Okay, so that's the main ones on the back there. Now there are a couple of others which are also helpful, and I just want to see if I can identify where these are first. I'm just going to grab that wooden stick again, just because it's easier for you to see it clearly then. So what you're looking for, if you want to pop, that's it, there. So it's in the crease here. Actually, point the camera there, so
oh, I can actually feel that one. Yeah, I felt that the most,
and that's really, really helpful, that one. So we'll get that right in, draw that on. It's amazing, isn't it, the acupressure of it. So we know that one works. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Right, let's just see if we can do the same on this elbow and get it as accurate as we did with the other side. Yeah, you can tell by your face. Okay. You hold your arm just like that. I just want to get the pen open. There we go. Lovely. If you want to relax the arm. Right, one of the last acupressure points for sort of neck and back and shoulder area, I know this sounds really odd, but is actually in the hand, and that really helps. And you can see one of the easiest ways of seeing it is by keeping your finger and thumb closed, and it's the area where they join in the crease there. So actually if we try and do this in a different colour, so okay, that gives me an idea. And then if we could do that on the other side as well. Okay, right, now we've done all of our mapping to the acupressure points, and we've got those documented via multicoloured dots. That's really helpful for me because it means I can go straight to the points that I need to go to and really work through that. So what I'm just going to do is just knead over this for a little while just to warm up that area. And then what I'm going to do is where I marked it previously is I'm actually going to push in and hold for about 30 seconds roughly. Now if it causes pain or discomfort at any time, let me know.
Okay.
But I would not be surprised if you get some real relief from this.
Yeah, I can already feel the difference on that left side.
Yeah,
to the right.
It is amazing.
It's almost like I can feel it in my jaw.
Yeah.
That tension there.
Generally pain relief you can get on this one in the neck and shoulder. That's what it's aimed at. So this is the gallbladder 21, it's known as. Do come up with some amazing names, but the Chinese names, as I said, I'm not going to try and attempt to pronounce, but some of those are amazing. But we'll just stick with these ones for now. I'm going to do the same on this shoulder.
This side feels so tense.
Yeah, it's really like a rock here. Oh, I think we'll do a little bit more.
I am right-handed, so...
Yeah. I'm just going to do a little bit of knuckling around this as well. So it's so tense. Just going to try and relax a little bit so that when I push down it is still going to work. Right, here we go. Just try and relax as much as you can. That's it. I am counting, so I know it feels like a long time, but it's not really. How did that feel? Slight release on that at all?
Yeah, it's nice to just take that moment
Yeah.
to hone in on it as well. It's quite relaxing to...
Okay, right. So the next one was it's on the gallbladder meridian again, and it's the gallbladder 20. And this aims at relieving neck pain and shoulder pain, upper back pain, because that can be related as well, and sometimes headaches as well. So you're aiming, I'm going to do it with fingers, but so that the camera can see, but often if you're doing it yourself, you have a thumb that side and a thumb this side as well. So I'm just going to pop that in. It's actually a little bit higher than I've slightly marked there. I can feel, you can almost feel an indentation if you move your head slightly back. That's it. You can feel a natural indentation there. A lot of these acupressure trigger points are located in sort of small depression, what we call depressions or hollows in the body, in between bones and muscles or even tendons. There's a little dip. I mean, there's sort of 400 of them or so, so probably even slightly more than that. Right, I think we've finished that one. So the other one we're going to push in now was this large intestine number 11, which is just, this is the one that you felt quite a bit last time. So hopefully we can get that going again. And that really helps to relieve your arm and shoulder aches and tensions in there. I think in particular on this side, I can really feel that tension. So this might be something that you can maybe do at your desk if it gets too much. So that might really help to relieve the tension there. And while we're on this side, we're going to just do this one as well, which is in the crease there. Hold that just for a little while, just so that we can get rid of those aches in there. This one here is known as L14, which means it's on the lung meridian, and it relieves pain in the upper body generally. Often you can use it to relieve headaches and toothache sometimes as well. So hopefully that could help. People who do reflexology use this as well to help relieve upper parts, aches and pains in the jaw and the teeth, and equally for relieving headaches as well. So a little bit of a crossover between acupressure and reflexology there. There are some overlaps between the two treatments. Okay, so I'm just going to do these on the other arm as well. So I'm just going to lift that over slightly so we can see more clearly. Push that in there. And that hopefully will release any blockages that are possibly adding to your shoulder pain as well. And hopefully that will relieve them. And obviously one of the, I'm just going to this last one now. And obviously what people can learn to do, and lots of people do and practice this, is to do self acupressure, so that if you're on your own you can still participate in this. Okay. Now I've pushed some fairly critical pressure points there. So what I want you to do, if possible, is just do a little bit of breathing exercises to end the treatment. So just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth 3 times in your own time. hope you feel that that's really helped you and made a difference. I certainly feel that I've felt a difference in certainly some of those points, particularly I would say on your right side. I think that you should really feel that that's released some of the tension and the aches in there for tomorrow, so you'll benefit from that tomorrow. Again, so that's okay. Thank you again for modelling for me. Start by inspecting your back first. We're going to be working on acupressure points today, but first I need to check the condition of your back. Give it a good inspection, and then I will clean the back area, and then I'll move on to looking at where those acupressure points are that are related to back and shoulder pain in particular. So I'm just going to inspect the back first, looking for any contraindications. Particularly in the areas that we're going to be working. I can't see anything untoward at the moment, but what I'd like to do is examine it a little bit more closely with a magnifying glass. Right, I'll start over on this side. A few natural bumps, just checking that they're not open or anything like that. That's the back checked. I'm just going to check around the shoulder area now. That's all okay. Just a couple of bumps, but nothing to worry about at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cleanse the back. This is just straightforward cleansing lotion, just to get rid of any impurities that are on the surface of the skin. Okay, and then just to make doubly sure, we're going to tone it as well. Apologies if this is a bit cold. That gets rid of any surplus cleanser that's left. So what we're going to do now is locate some of those acupressure points so that we can help to relieve some of your back pain and shoulder pain. So just to talk to you a little bit about acupressure, which is a traditional Chinese medicine technique. And it's based on the principle of qi, which you may have heard of before, or the energy flow through the body, often using something called the meridians. There are 14 meridians in all connected and interlinked. And the acupressure points, of which there are 361, are all located along these meridian lines. Some of them are obvious. Okay, the first meridian is the lung. Then you've got the large intestine, the stomach, the spleen, the heart, the small intestine, the bladder, the kidney, the pericardium, the triple warmer, the gallbladder, the liver, the conception vessel, and the governing visual. Most acupressure points are located in what we call small depressions or hollows in the body, which are between bones or muscles or tendons. And you do have to be a little bit careful about the pressure that you use, particularly if you're still getting used to pressure points. Maybe start with a light pressure, just the tip of your finger, and then once you feel more confident, you can start going in and pushing that much harder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is locate some of these pressure points, known as acupoints, and you can use these yourself to press in. Obviously it's nice if you've got somebody that can do it for you, but do be a little bit cautious. There are certain people who need to just be a bit wary. People who are pregnant, for example, can overstimulate certain areas, and obviously if you've got medical conditions, then just be wary that there are certain pressure points that you shouldn't push, which can stimulate certain areas. So just a word of caution, but generally using acupressure points can really help with your overall sense of well-being. So what I'm going to touch on are pressure points which people often ask about, and that is areas such as the neck here, the shoulders, and in particular the back and the lower back in particular. And there are a number of pressure points which you can press on yourself to help with relieving aches and pains once you're a little bit practiced and confident. If not, then obviously try and see a massage therapist that is familiar with acupressure points. So one of the first ones that I'm going to look at is something called GB21, which is roughly in the middle between the neck and the shoulder. Now GB21, the GB stands for gallbladder and 21 is its number on its acupoint along that meridian line of the gallbladder. And it's in that sort of soft hollow of the shoulder here, slightly more on the top. And I will draw that a little bit later once I've got an idea of where all these points are on your back. The benefits of GB21 are pain relief in the neck and the shoulder area. So you have GB21, you have another set which is GB20, which is here and here, just in the crease of the neck. There's a slight dip and hollow at the base of the skull, at the back of the head. And we'll mark those out a little bit later. And that in particular helps with neck and shoulder pain and upper back pain as well, and can really help with headaches. So useful to know where that actually is. I'm going to draw GB21 now, so it's very clear. So we've got a thin side on the pen and a thicker side. I think I'll choose the slightly thicker side. So it's in between the top of the shoulder blade and the base of the neck, in the middle area. Right, and on this side as well, I am drawing it slightly bigger than it is, just so that you can see it. And when we come to push that, we'll just do sort of in the middle of it, but it just gives you an idea. So that's perfect, right in the middle between the base of the neck and there. So that's GB21. So let's choose a different colour for GB20. I'm just going to pop your hair up a bit more. And there's a little hollow either side. Probably more to the top of this. That's great. And then one of the other ones, if I can pop your arm up slightly. Now in the crease of your elbow on the inside, we'll do it this side so that you can see it clearly. And this would be on both sides. So right in the crease. And this is known as LI11. And the LI stands for the large intestine. So in the crease of the elbow. And this really helps to relieve arm and shoulder aches and tension. So you would do that there, and you would do that on the other side as well. It gives you an idea of where that would be. And then that's mostly the top area on the shoulder and the neck that I mentioned. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move down to pain in the lower back. People sit a lot these days, particularly in sedentary types of jobs where they're sitting in chairs a lot, or even people who have standing jobs. A lot of pressure is put on that lower back area. We've also got a large number of people who are working from home, and many people who are working from home can sometimes go quite a long time without realising that they haven't taken a break, and then they try to stand up and their backs, particularly the lower back area, can be very tender, and that is really detrimental to your overall well-being. There's nothing worse than lower back pain, and acupressure in this area can really help to relieve the pain. And I'm going to talk about two particular sets of acupressure points that can really help you here. Okay, so I'm just going to point with my stick again here, just so that I can talk about it while we're looking at where it actually is. So the first one that is really concerned with back pain is something called B23. Now the B stands for the bladder meridian, and 23 is the number of the acupoint or the acupressure point that we're talking about. And it is, if you can imagine a line along your waist here, B23 is in this lower back area, and if you think you've got your spine here, and it's 2 fingers width either side of the spine, but in line with your waist level. So here, for example, it would be here, the spine's here, so it would be here and here. And the benefits of B23 is you can use that to really relieve pain and any weakness you've got in your lower back area there. And sometimes you almost do this instinctively when you stand up and you put your hands on the back of your lower back there to try and relieve the aches and pains. You sort of instinctively go to this area, and that's because that is a key acupressure point and your body's crying out for it to be relieved. So what we're going to do is just draw on that, choose the thicker end of that. So as I said, the spine, if you imagine the waist and the spine, so let's do one at a time. I'll just pop a dot there and I'll enlarge it shortly. Then you've got this side of the spine as well, and you do that here, and then I'll just make that slightly larger so that we know exactly where this one is. And when I come to do the pressure on it, I'll obviously aim for the middle. I'm just enlarging it just to show you roughly where they are. But you may well have done, if you've got that type of job, you may have well done this instinctively yourself. So that is B23. And I've got another set. So this is B47, and it's quite easy to locate because it's 2 fingers away from B23. So roughly here and here on the other side. So we'll get a different colour pen just to highlight that. So again, roughly 2 fingers from the middle of that and 2 fingers from here. So they treat slightly different pressure points. So it's worth knowing that you've got 2 sets there. Okay, so that helps to really cover those areas along that waistline. Then we've got the last 2 that I'm going to cover, which are B25. Now B25 is located 2 fingers width from either side of the spine, but at the hip level, so down from the waist. So where you've got this B23, if you go down from there and you'll see the hip. So it's, if you do these 2 first, they're quite easy to locate. And again, these are ones that you sometimes instinctively push on when you've got back pain when you sit up. From there, coming in from the hips, you can just draw them underneath. And these are the main ones that I would suggest for back pain and shoulder pain. There are a number of others. These are not the only ones associated with that. For example, there's the lung 14, and then there are a couple that are based in the ankle area, which really follow that meridian line and really help to combat pain. There's also one, believe it or not, just under the nose area, which if you push can really help with back pain as well. But it's quite difficult to display those, but I think we've got enough to be getting on with here. These would certainly help you to think about and relieve some of that back pain you've got. Okay, so now we've done that, what I'd like to do is actually start pushing on some of these pressure points so that you get the benefits of us locating them. So I'm going to start with the one on the shoulder area here, which is GB21. And I'm going to push in and hold roughly for around 30 seconds is probably enough. So you can count while we're doing it. So we're going to push on this other side of GB21, which is in that little hollow area. And you can push down just gently to start with, and then if you can take a little bit more pressure, obviously you can add in some pressure. Okay, and then on the base of the head you can do both at the same time and press in And you can do this yourself as well. Once you are confident and you know where the hollow is that you're aiming for, you can do this yourself and bring some relief to that area, particularly if you've been doing lots of work that's meant your neck is hanging down, then that should make a difference there. Okay, so here we go on B23, just press in there, and obviously that should relieve some of the back pain in that area. And then once you've done that, you would move along to B47. And then once you've done that for about 30 seconds, obviously I'm not doing it for 30 seconds now, but you can do that for as long as it's comfortable. And then that last one, B25, should really help relieve some pain in there.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me again today to focus on relieving tension headaches through the use of acupressure. Tension headaches tend to occur with slight pain on both sides of the head, and they are the most common form of headaches. Others being things like migraines and cluster headaches, which we'll cover another day. But tension headaches, often caused by the way that we live in the contemporary world, so often caused by stress, eye strain, in particular overuse of computers and technology, and also tension in the neck muscles. And to help relieve that, an overall approach to well-being is really, really needed to help relieve those tension headaches. So what I'm going to do in order to help you relax today is I'm going to put an eye mask on you.
Whoa.
Exciting. It will help to block out the light, and it's a really additional way of adding in some relaxation to a treatment. I just want to talk to you a little bit about acupressure for those people who've not come across this before. So acupressure is a traditional Chinese treatment. It's based on the principle of something called qi, or energy, that flows through 14 meridians, or another way of thinking of that is the pathways through the body. You apply pressure at specific points, and these are known as acupoints, along those meridian lines, and that is supposed to strengthen the flow of qi and remove blockages. Now, there are hundreds of these acupoints along the meridian lines, and many of those points are known to really relieve pain and improve common ailments, and again promote an overall sense of well-being. So an acupressure point is like an increased sensitivity point along each of these meridians, and there are 14 meridians, and we're going to be working on some of them today, but I just want to go through the meridians so that you know what the main 14 are. So you've got the lung, the large intestine, the stomach, the spleen, the heart, the small intestine, the bladder, the kidney, the pericardium, the triple warmer, the gallbladder, the liver, the conception vessel, and the governing vessel, and those are your 14 meridians. And you can see with some of the visuals I've got dotted around that the meridians go up and down through the body, and that's what you're trying to relieve with pressing on some of these acupoints. This Chinese science, it's based on beliefs from over 2,000 years ago, and it's practiced by thousands of people worldwide. It's not a substitute for medical treatment, but it can be complementary to this. And for many people, acupressure and indeed self-acupressure can relieve these common aches and pains that we suffer from, and it can really help promote that overall sense of relaxation and well-being. Most of these trigger points are located in sort of skin depression areas, or valleys, or hollows is what they're known as. So these hollows are in between the muscles and the tendons, and by pushing on them you can relieve any blockages in those areas. And obviously once you get to know your client, you'll get to know how much tension or pressure you need to use for each areas. Sometimes if people are suffering from pain in a particular area, you just need to err on the side of caution, and just be careful. Just constantly communicate with your client as to how much pressure you should be using. And also a word of caution, anybody that is pregnant or has cardiac issues, acupressure is not recommended unless you've got a really, really experienced therapist who specifically has studied those areas. So avoid that during those times. There are, so just narrowing this down into the area that we want to treat today, there are specific points that are known to help with tension headaches in particular. These are known as gallbladder 20 and 21, and the large intestine, number 4, the small intestine, number 3, the stomach, 36, the bladder, 60. And we're going to look at some of these today. But for those of you that are particularly interested in acupressure, I find the subject totally fascinating, but there's a lot to learn about it. And as I said, you need to get into your head the 14 main meridians, and then each acupoint is given a number, and then depending on what text you're looking at, they're also given some names. The original names are in Chinese, which I would not attempt to pronounce, but there are English versions if you want to look those up as well, and I might mention some of the key ones we're looking at today. Obviously, one of the main approaches to well-being is looking at sleep, and again the sleep mask is helpful for that in terms of blocking out light in particular, but these new modern sleep masks can really help with some of these other aspects, such as eye strain that we're looking at and tension headaches today. And as part of an overall approach to well-being, that includes things like good nutrition, exercise, reducing stress where you can, adding in something like a holistic treatment or acupressure treatment that is specifically geared to what your client is going through at the moment is always useful in enhancing that overall sense of well-being. Now we're going to move into treating those specific acupoints that I mentioned earlier. So just as a reminder, that's the gallbladder 20 and 21, the large intestine 4, the small intestine 3, and the stomach 36. Are you still feeling relaxed, Melissa?
Yeah, it's
yes,
lovely.
Good.
It's drifting off.
Okay, so what we're going to do is really home in on some of these acupressure points that are going to help with tension headaches in particular. And the first one we're going to start with is gallbladder 20. And I did say earlier that some of these have names specifically for them, and this one is called wind pool. And so that we get a clearer visual, I'm just going to pop your hair to one side temporarily. And then if these points, so there's one on the right and one on the left, and if you feel the bottom of the ears and there's a slight depression just going in slightly there, and what you need to do is circle these acupoints, so clockwise and then anti-clockwise. And it's quite a tender area here, so just circle points quite gently, one way and then the other. And generally you can do this for up to 2 minutes. On some of your other acupoints, you can put some more pressure on, but on these ones which are quite sensitive, just go gently. So base of the head, along from the ears, you'll find 2 depressions in there. Work those, and that's your first acupoint for tension headaches. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next point. Right, okay, we're going to move on to the second acupoint that we're going to look at today, which is known as gallbladder 21, and it also has an English name called shoulder well, which actually helps to explain where it is. So you're looking really at the middle of area of the shoulder where there's a slight dip, and this one is very much a pressure point, so you can actually pop that pressure on and hold it there for a while. Obviously if your client has pain in that area, go gently, but you can hold that in that area for quite some time. Can you feel that at all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to ease off slightly. I'm pushing quite hard, so I'm just going to ease up slightly. I think because this is your right shoulder, which you use quite a lot, there's obviously some blockage in there which needs clearing. And then I'll ease the tension off again. And then because we've gone quite deep, what I'm just going to do is massage that area and then give it a little bit of a knuckle as well, just to ease that area slightly. And that will help to relax that shoulder. We're now going to look at the next acupoint on the hand this time, but actually on the meridian acupoint, it's the large intestine 4, which is known as Valley of the Union. One of the ways to locate this easily is if you put your thumb and finger together, it creates a V shape here. And what you want to do is get in right into that point and push that, and you've got your finger underneath balancing as well. And what you want to do is put quite a lot of pressure on there, and this will really help with relieving headache tension. So quite a lot of pressure there. You can see I'm squeezing quite hard there. And then I'm going to slightly relieve the pressure, and I'm going to ask you to take in a breath and blow it out very gently. That's it. And we'll do that a few more times. And you do that as many times with your client as you want to increase that relaxation. And when you finish that, what you'll do is just massage that area just to relieve any tension you've got in there. Right, okay, for the next acupoint, what we're locating is the edge of the hand here. And this is known as the small intestine 3 and is called the back ravine. Right. And what you would do here is you would use circling pressure alternated with increased pressure, and that should really help to relieve any headache tension. And as with all of these moves, obviously once you've done one side, you would do the other hand. Right, so we've covered some of those main acupressure points, which I hope will lead to helping to relieve your tension headaches, and in particular the mask maybe with the eye strain. I hope the treatment relaxed you and that you will enjoy continuing your relaxation for the rest of the day. So thank you for your time today.